track of the severe thunderstorms which are now tearing through Columbia County. The National Weather Service has just extended the severe thunderstorm warning for Columbia County until 5:15.
This is a special presentation from Channel 6 News, Storm Warning.
The tornado hit Rotterdam first at 5:30 in the afternoon, leaving a path of destruction not seen before or since in Schenectady County. This urban landscape was shattered as the storm traveled along Route 7, crossing State Street, where it damaged or destroyed businesses, including the A&P grocery store, now the site of the Schenectady OTB.
I've lived right here all my life. I've never seen anything as bad as this. It's scary.
This is what parts of West Stockbridge looked like after it was hit by the most powerful tornado in Massachusetts since the Worcester tornado of June 9, 1953. The 73 storm moved into the Berkshires from Columbia County with no warning at 12:40 in the afternoon. Its winds carved an 11-mile path of devastation, killing 4 and injuring 36, mostly here at this truck stop off the Berkshire spur of the Thruway. The storm still ranks as the #2 tornado killer in Massachusetts.
It sounds like a loud train whistling through. It's very dark, hard to breathe. Everything is a disaster.
This was the aftermath of a monster tornado that lasted only a few minutes, striking in the early afternoon. Its ferocious winds hit the towns of Carlisle, Central Bridge, and Schoharie. In seconds, people's lives were changed.
The wind hit and the place just started to literally come apart.
Just thought it was a normal thunderstorm coming, but it certainly wasn't normal.
It wasn't normal at all. In fact, it was the third deadliest Massachusetts tornado on record, killing 3 and injuring 24 in a matter of minutes in the Great Barrington area. 100 homes were damaged or destroyed and the fairgrounds obliterated after the storm hit with the force of a bomb.
Devastation.
Completely gone. Disaster. It's all gone. It's not all gone. We're still alive. We're fine. We made it through it.
And 3 years later, tornadoes hit again, the strongest at 4:22 in the afternoon on Memorial Day 1998. It first unleashed its fury on the Bile Hill section of Stillwater, then went on to spread destruction in Mechanicville and finally Scatticoat.
Everything's gone. Everything. Our whole entire roof just collapsed in. Personal belongings gone. Windows shattered. Dressers thrown over. We have nowhere to go.
The winds were so strong I couldn't pull the door open. They were keeping it shut, and just for a second to try to get out, it was just like a panic. We got down in the basement at the last second and was very nervous.
You read about it in the paper, on TV, in the movies, but this is amazing. I mean, my vehicles are destroyed, and next door neighbors, and it's just unbelievable.
You've just seen the aftermath of nature at its worst, destruction from the weather on an almost unimaginable level. I'm meteorologist Steve LaPointe. Welcome to our presentation of Storm Warning. In the next half an hour, our team of meteorologists will show you the full spectrum of violent spring and summer weather that can happen here. And you'll learn how cutting-edge research has improved the warning process. It's all in our effort to make you more aware and to keep you safe the next time severe weather threatens.
I'm meteorologist Garett Argianas. Do you know what it means and what to do when your area is under a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch? I'll have the answer when Storm Warning returns. When a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch is in effect, it means conditions are favorable for severe weather later in the day. Severe weather is not necessarily imminent, but you should keep an eye to the sky and be ready to act if dangerous weather threatens.
During the spring and summer, especially from May to August, that severe weather is most likely in the Northeast. Thunderstorms spring up as air masses collide, but not all thunderstorms are severe. In fact, most aren't. So what makes a severe thunderstorm, and why should you be concerned if most aren't? Here's meteorologist Augustyniak.
Many people who live here thought only a tornado could have done this to their neighborhood. Hundreds of huge trees downed, cars destroyed, and homes damaged.
We looked out the back window and man, it was devastated. Devastation. Really bad.
But it wasn't a tornado that did this to the Fort Hunter section of Guilderland on August 14, 2002. It was a severe thunderstorm that produced a straight-line downburst of wind estimated between 80 and 90 miles an hour. It only lasted a minute, but it was a minute that sent Guilderland into a state of emergency for days.
The wind that scarred this neighborhood so quickly was a violent example of how even a small, very localized thunderstorm can be extremely dangerous. The damage in this area was confined to only a 2 to 3 mile wide swath, but severe thunderstorms, if they're organized, can produce damage over a much wider area and for longer periods of time.
During the early morning of July 15, 1995, this complex of highly organized thunderstorms shown on this radar loop, called a derecho, raced across New York at speeds up to 60 miles an hour, and it produced winds of over 100 miles an hour at times along its track. Over 1 million trees came down in the Adirondack State Park, and a dozen unsuspecting vacationers were killed as some of those trees came down in their tents and campers.
There was absolutely no warning for anybody. If you didn't have a chance to do anything, there was no swaying, no nothing, things just started falling.
Wind damage was reported in every county in the Channel 6 coverage area. In fact, a wind gust of 78 miles an hour hit the Albany airport, the second highest wind gust on record at the time. An hour later, 92-mile-an-hour winds were clocked at Otis, Massachusetts, in the Berkshires. In the Northeast, a thunderstorm is considered severe if it produces a 58-mile-an-hour or higher wind gust and or 3/4-inch diameter hail or larger. These are the threshold levels of where wind and hail can produce significant damage, injuries, or fatalities. Lightning, though, plays no role in defining a severe thunderstorm. Golf ball-sized hail on July 11, 1995, fell on Pittsfield, Mass. For 20 minutes, covering the ground, and very heavy rain caused flooding. This is not an unusual example of hail events here in the Northeast. Hailstones here have even reached the size of baseballs. Straight-line winds have been clocked at over 150 miles an hour. These winds occur as a storm's updraft collapses, sending a blast of rain-cooled air to the ground. That's what happened in Guilderland in 2002, and on a smaller scale here at the Curtis Lumberyard in Ballston Spa on September 21, 2000. A microburst of wind over 75 miles an hour came out of a rain shower, producing serious damage to the yard.
While thunderstorms by far are the most common severe weather maker here in the Northeast, it's the tornadoes, certainly, that get the most attention. And they happen here more often than you might think. Meteorologist Tom Mailey has a look at local tornadoes.
That's definitely a tornado. You bet that's a tornado.
No, this isn't a Kansas tornado. This one struck right here, just outside of Amsterdam in the town of Florida on June 16, 2002. It lasted only a few minutes, but in that time developed a classic funnel shape as it tracked across the countryside. This series of photographs captures the mature phase of the storm. Its winds, estimated at only around 70 miles per hour, produced a path of downed trees and damaged buildings over 3 miles long. The tornado that struck Mechanicville in 1998, however, was unusually violent for this area, leading to millions of dollars in property damage and terrifying the people who went through it.
We ran downstairs and we had candles, and all of a sudden it was the weirdest, eeriest thing. The candles just like went whoosh, and it got totally still. You couldn't hear anything, and all of a sudden you just heard a vibration.
You could hear the wall of debris start to hit the house, and as soon as I heard that, we all ran against the basement wall.
Next thing I know, the power goes on. My dad's yelling, "Get against the wall! Get against the wall!" We are all holding each other. So the next thing I know, I'm climbing out of the basement outside. There are trees everywhere, parts everywhere.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah, you do a lot of trembling down there, and you start praying to God and hope that He pulls you through.
Tornado strengths are estimated by looking at the damage after a storm has gone through, not while a storm is in progress. The ranking is called the Fujita Tornado Intensity Scale. Tornado strengths range from a level of F0, the weakest, where tornado winds range from 40 to 72 miles per hour. The Florida-New York tornado was ranked at F0. The top rank on the scale is F5. This was the Moore, Oklahoma F5 tornado on May 3, 1999. It damaged or destroyed several thousand buildings and killed over 20 people. The Super F4 and F5 tornadoes account for the vast majority of tornado damage, injuries, and fatalities in this country. They're also the most rare, accounting for only 1% of all reported tornadoes in a year. Locally, the 1960 Schenectady, 95 Great Barrington, and 98 Mechanicville tornadoes were all ranked F3. West Stockbridge in 1973 was an F4. This is a map of the tornado hot zones in the country. More tornadoes occur in the black and green shaded areas of the nation than in any other place in the world. But there are smaller hot zones where tornado occurrences are also high. And we just happen to have one of those local hot zones right here. This map shows the number of confirmed tornadoes by county since 1950. In all, the records show 138 tornadoes have occurred here in the last 50 years. Most of those storms have been relatively weak, F1 or lower in rating. Numbers with an asterisk, however, indicate that the county has been hit by at least one violent F3 or F4 rated storm. Our local tornado hot zone runs across the Mid-Hudson Valley to Berkshire County, Massachusetts, and Litchfield County, Connecticut, where the frequency of tornadoes is noticeably higher than the rest of the area. Research suggests that the local terrain in this area, under certain conditions, changes the surface wind direction enough to help trigger more tornadoes.
Severe thunderstorms and tornadoes are warned for today better than at any time in the past. So where do the warnings come from? I'll tell you coming up next.
Do you know what it means and what to do when a severe thunderstorm or tornado warning has been issued for your area? I'll have the answer when Storm Warning continues. Severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings are issued for specific areas like counties or parts of counties and last from 30 to 60 minutes. When a warning is in effect, it means severe weather is imminent and you should take cover immediately to protect yourself from the storm.
The National Weather Service Doppler radar indicated
Local severe weather warnings are issued from here, the Center for Environmental Science and Technology Management building on Fuller Road in Albany. This is the home of the Albany office of the National Weather Service, which is co-located on the University of Albany campus and is among only 4 designated as a research institute where local studies have led to tremendous advancements in severe weather warning lead times. Ken LaPointe is a lead forecast and research meteorologist with the office.
Years ago, it took 4 or 5 minutes to go from making the decision to issue a warning to actually having the warning on the air. Now it's a matter of probably 30 to 40 seconds. Once the decision is made, a warning needs to be issued. Software is activated that in a matter of seconds can generate the warning. We click where the storm is on the radar screen, click where it was, push a button, and within seconds a warning's available for us to check over. If it looks okay, we hit a button and it's gone.
If we could go back to 1966 with the technology we have today, it would almost look like magic to a meteorologist.
Dick Westergaard is the Albany National Weather Service office's warning coordination meteorologist.
When everything comes together, if you have one of the best forecasters there are out there on severe weather on the desk, and then you have the best equipment in the Doppler radar, and you add to that a really good spotter network. Those 3 things come together, that's where you can get the good lead times.
And everything came together on May 31st, 1998. The office gave the residents of Mechanicville and Stillwater an unprecedented 39-minute lead time to prepare for the tornado.
The technology that now gives us longer lead times of major severe weather like tornadoes is really only useful if the information gets to you and you know what to do with it when you hear it. The best way to stay informed if you're away from your television or a computer is to have one of these. It's a NOAA weather radio with tone alert. When this alarm goes off, it means you need to listen to the warning and take action immediately to protect yourself. In a tornado or even a severe thunderstorm, the safest place to be is right here in the basement. If you're in a building without a basement, an interior bathroom or closet on the lowest floor is your next best option. And don't waste time opening the windows. If the tornado wants them open, it will do it for you. If you live in a mobile home, leave it, but don't use the car to evacuate. The majority of tornado injuries and fatalities occur in mobile homes and automobiles. That was the case here in Great Barrington, where 3 people were killed in 1995 when their car was picked up and thrown 600 feet.
As dangerous as tornadoes are, lightning occurs far more frequently and is far more deadly. New York ranks among the top 5 states for lightning-related deaths and injuries. Dr. Vince Idoni is one of the country's leading lightning research scientists and a professor at the University at Albany. He knows firsthand how lightning can strike, even under a clear blue sky.
There was a pole along the highway about maybe 200 or 300 feet in front of me, and I'm driving along, and all of a sudden that pole was struck by lightning, and it really surprised me. I almost lost control of my vehicle. There was a storm that was approaching, but it was not right close.
This bolt from the blue is something that several UAlbany police officers also recently experienced while patrolling campus.
And yet a tree was struck just maybe 40 or 50 feet from where they were standing, and the lightning currents traveled over the ground and involved all the officers.
It may well be that those officers ignored or didn't notice the one warning sign that lightning produces: thunder. Which is why you should follow this rule. If you can hear thunder, there is some danger of being struck by lightning, and you should immediately head for shelter.
Lightning wants to do one thing, and that's get to the ground as easily as possible. That's why tall objects like what's left of this pine tree get struck far more frequently than short objects do. If I'd been standing next to this tree when it was struck, odds are I wouldn't be here talking to you now, as the charge could either have traveled through the tree's root system to me, or jumped directly from the tree to me on its way to the ground.
Standing next to a metal object like this fence is just as dangerous. A lightning strike way at the end of the fence could travel the length of the fence and strike me here.
So you think you're safe from lightning in an open field away from trees and metal objects? Well, you're not. In fact, you're probably the tallest thing in that field and a good pathway for lightning. Some lightning strike victims report feeling their hair stand on end right before the strike. If that happens to you, you want to immediately crouch down like a baseball catcher and curl yourself into a ball. You don't want to lie flat on the ground. If you do that and lightning strikes nearby, the charge can travel through the ground and through your body. So your best bet is to crouch down, which makes you a small target, but also minimizes your contact with the ground.
Sitting inside a car with a hard top and the windows rolled up is really one of the best places to escape lightning. Now, a myth is that the rubber tires insulate you from the charge. That is wrong. It's actually the metal frame and the shell of the vehicle that protect you by distributing the charge around you and to the ground. If you follow these rules, you'll be safe in your home or business as well. Stay off electrical appliances and telephones because lightning can travel through power, cable, and telephone lines. Cordless or cellular phones are okay to use though because they're not directly connected to any of the house wiring. Stay away from plumbing fixtures though, as lightning can travel through the metal pipes or the water in those pipes.
The best way to stay safe from lightning and the other hazards thunderstorms cause is to know those hazards are coming. And there's one tool more than any other that's made accurate advanced severe weather warnings possible. That's Doppler weather radar. Meteorologist Garett Argianas will have a look at Doppler radar when storm warning continues.
To determine how close a lightning strike is to you, count the number of seconds it takes for you to hear thunder after you see the flash, and then divide by 5 to get the distance to you in miles.
This is the Albany Doppler Weather Radar, one of 120 operated by the National Weather Service. This one's located in the Helderbergs and was commissioned in May 1995, just prior to the Great Barrington tornado.
The Doppler radar allows you to actually look at the winds within the storm. We can't see the detail enough to be absolutely certain there's a tornado, but we can see wind structures that give us a good clue many times that there is a tornado there. The computer technology that works with the radar can process the data and give us loads of information that will help us with the warning decisions.
And those computers processing what the radar saw in 1995, just prior to the Great Barrington tornado, led forecasters to issue the first accurate local tornado warnings in this area.
Again, tornado warning in effect for this cell right here in Columbia County that is moving towards Great Barrington.
When you look at 20 to 30 years ago, it's truly, it's amazing where we've come. And again, we won't hit everything. We're going to miss some of them, but, we missed most of them 30 years ago.
We're looking at the National Weather Service radar right now.
And the radar images that have led to the huge improvements in forecasting severe storms and that you see on all of the local television stations come right from here, the Albany Doppler radar. But at Channel 6, we have a huge advantage. Not only do we harness the power of this radar, but we also harness the power of our own exclusive live radar. And this is it, Instant Doppler 6. Construction lasted several weeks as a crane lifted tower segments into the air, rising to a final height of 150 feet. The radar antenna and enclosure were also lifted by crane to the top of the tower. At its top speed, the radar makes a complete rotation in 15 seconds, showing us live storm images. It can also be stopped and manually manipulated for specific storm analysis, completely under our control. Instant Doppler 6 has a range of 200 miles, but is most effective within the 75-mile radius that is our coverage area. Its main advantage is the live imagery it provides exclusively to Channel 6. The data from the Albany Doppler radar is time-delayed to the television stations, and that time delay can be critical in cases when severe weather is moving quickly.
We're proud of the fact that we can offer you the power of 2 Doppler weather radars in our effort to keep you informed of severe storms. And when severe weather does break, and if you're watching Channel 6, you'll see this, our programming in alert mode, where we'll display radar and county warning information. We'll also break into programming with live storm updates that will run continuously until the severe weather has passed.
Let's get you right into the severe thunderstorm warnings which have been issued.
If you have a computer, you can have severe weather warnings crawled on the bottom of your monitor with our exclusive 6 News Now application. That's a free download from WRGB.com.
But the person you should rely on the most to stay informed and safe from severe weather is you.
Be very aware of severe weather watches. They are first alert to the potential for dangerous weather later in the day. And don't wait for official warnings. When the weather turns bad, take cover.
And when the weather does turn bad, you can always turn to us. We'll be here using Instant Doppler 6 and the latest storm technology to let you know where the severe weather is and where it's going.
We're fortunate that we live in a region where severe weather is not frequent, but we've showed you it's no less sudden or violent when it strikes. We want to thank you for joining our special presentation of Storm Warning and hope that you use the information we've given you to stay safe the next time severe weather threatens.
For greater detail on the severe weather and safety information presented in Storm Warning and information on how to become a severe weather spotter for the National Weather Service or for Channel 6, go to our website at www.wrgb.com and click on Storm Warning.